Hi there, everybody. Welcome back, and it's time for another one of our matches with the Yanbian FC. This time we're at home against Zibo Qisheng. Zibo are down in around 10th or 11th in the league and are probably not going to wind up doing very much here. We, of course, have already won the league. We've already clinched promotion, and we are trying to get this goal differential up to 200. Now, our last game wasn't really that great, and the fans are kind of punishing us, I think, for it. We're only supposed to have about 10,000 here today, which would be the worst crowd of the season for us. We've been averaging about 19,000, and as you've been seeing in some of our previous matches, we tend to get that, sometimes a little bit more. I think we've had a couple just over 20,000. The stadium seats 30,000, so we kind of hope that as we move forward in the league structure that more people want to come watch us and become more hardcore fans instead of just these sort of bandwagon fans who don't show up once it's all been won and decided. What we need to do right now, though, is get the ball, and we're having a hard time doing that here as the Zibo defense is just sort of holding on to things, and they have nobody up there in any sort of attacking position. It's Torres there who's back after being injured, who finally gets it over to Kolundzik, and Andrea Kolundzik scores. That's his second goal of the season. He was upset with me, as you may recall, for putting him on the under-21s at the beginning of the year. He's from Macedonia, I think it is. I think he's only 21, maybe 20 years old. And this is, I think, his third start this season, if I remember right. The problem is that he plays on one of those attacking wing sides. I think he's the attacking right winger, and the problem that we have is that we have a lot of really good players who can play on that side. But hey, if he scores goals like that, we might play him a little bit more often. And of course, the assist to him came from Jubin, who we all know is the 16-year-old player who's just simply incredible, and a good example of the type of new-gen Wonderkid you can find in Football Manager. I love Jubin. There's everything about him is good. Lee Chang-yi is back there in goal for us today. Throws it over to Jonovic. Jonovic now kicks that one forward, looking for Para, who sort of gives up on it. Over to Kolundzik now, who makes the interception, and his shot is knocked out for a corner. So not too bad for us. I would like to see Luciano Para actually run for a change. Here's Lee Jin-young with the corner, and he kicks it upwards, looking for Torres, who unfortunately is not able to head that one goalwards. Torres was out for about 3 months, I think it was. I had him down on the under-21s, though he was still registered to play in the squad. He was just out because of injury. And it really was kind of a shame because he is one of our best central defenders. But he's back, and he's ready to roll. Here's Lee Chang-yi now, and he throws it forward to Holland. Holland takes it himself over to Wang Tong. Not much of a pass back to Torres. Wang Tong's not a player that we're going to play very much anymore after this. I think I mentioned that last time. Over to Kolundzik, over to Ravaglia now. And he has a little pass into Para. Para misses it, and it ends up being Jubin who gets the goal, his second goal of the season. And Para, Luciano really should have gotten on top of that and scored. I'm not quite sure what happened here. We'll take a look here at this replay and see what's going on. So Ravaglia loves to do this, and he has it right there in front for Para, who I think was fouled in the box. And Jubin, instead of giving up on the play, decides to just score the goal himself. And he's got no qualms with that at all. And it's 2-0 Yanbian FC. Jubin featuring in both of the goals so far. And not exactly the best of plays from Para, but I do think he was fouled. Lee Jin-young now with the corner. And he knocks it forward looking for Paulson, who just barely misses. That's just a whisker away from being a goal. Paulson has been amazing for us in the back. And here's Lee Jin-young again. He's going to look for Paulson again. No, it's Torres trying to come forward with it, and unfortunately unable to get onto it. And here's Kolundzik back to Para. Para walks it forward himself and then takes a shot from range that doesn't really do much at all. And it's a goal kick for Zibo Qisheng. And we end up losing the header, but we get back on it anyway. Here's Jubin coming forward. Jubin's kind of short, so you don't expect to see him win a lot of headers. He was looking forward, I think, for Para, who was just a little bit too slow on that. Here's Paulson over to Lee Jin-young. Lee Jin-young takes it up himself and makes the incisive pass over to Ravaglia for the goal. Pietro Ravaglia has his 27th of the season. We've got to start asking ourselves whether Ravaglia is going to take over the top goal scorer in the lead from Para. Luciano hasn't been scoring at all the last couple of matches, and this is an excellent play by Lee Jin-young, and Ravaglia was always going to score that one. Beautifully done. My assistant manager really wants me to play Kwon Hyuk-kyu again instead of Lee Jin-young. But I think we're going to stick with pretty boy Lee Jin-young instead. I like him a lot better. He's a little bit younger, and he doesn't have the same consistency and issues that Mr. Kwon has. Although, as you know from watching prior episodes, Mr. Kwon has been kind of he's been kind of a staple with the club for a long time. For a little while, he was kind of our main go-to guy there in the defensive midfielder role. Lee Chang able to get back onto that one. That wasn't much of a challenge. Up to Holland, who looks forward for Ravaglia, and he's got room to pass if he wants, and he works it out himself, and then passes it back again to Holland, who's a little bit too slow on that. Lee Jin-young not able to get a foot onto it. It goes back to Holland here again. He starts to penetrate, moves to the side, ends up being dispossessed by his man, and the ball is going for a counterattack by Zibo, and fortunately Holland is able to get around onto that one, but he passes it right into the path of Tan Tiancheng, who scores the goal. Not a good game so far for Holland. He's playing in the, I think he's playing as a right back today, which is not his natural position. And it kind of shows. This was a pretty poor defensive effort by him. He instead of kicking the ball the other way, he crosses it himself and crosses it straight to Tan Tiancheng. It's now 3-1 Yanbian FC. We can laugh at that now because we've already got the League One. If this were a more consequential game, I wouldn't be laughing right now, I'll tell you that. I think we're going to take Holland off there at halftime. I think that this is his last time playing on that as a right back. Ravaglia now moves it forward to Kolundzic, who should score from there, but instead pops it over the goal. Holland, he has a 7.1 today, which is a pretty good rating, I suppose, but that was a really poor play from him. I mean, that was just awful. Jubin now looking for Wang Tong, finds him, and Wang Tong doesn't have the ability to score a header from there. I mean, is not the player that we want to try to take that shot. I mean, he wins. He's able to get past the defender, which is good, but Wang Tong really doesn't belong in this team. All right, I definitely think that we can take charge of this match a little bit more. We're going to take Holland off because that was ridiculous. And we don't have a team put together here either that's really set up for this. I'm not sure what happened to Park Myung-sung. We're actually going to put Wade on, I think, for him. Let's see here. Wait, what happened here? We didn't want Monta. We want Wade. There we go. And that should be all right, I think. We'll probably want to take Torres off as well, actually. Let's put Yan Quan on for him. And that'll be that. And we'll move on to the second half. Ravaglia back to Wang Tong. Over to Lee Jin-young again. And here we go forward once again. Over to Kolundzic. Back to Lee Jin-young. Lee Jin-young over looking for Ravaglia. Can't find him. And ends up with Zibo. It's over to Sun Shipeng, who I think is fouled in the penalty box. There's no penalty call at all. And boy, I think we got away with one there. Lee Changyi now takes it out. I mean, as long as we win this match, I don't mind too much, but that looked pretty bad. Here's Wade now, and he's been a superstar for us. Over to Parra, and what was that? Why is Luciano trying to head that forward? I mean, he's been doing strange things here the last couple of games. I'm not sure if he knows. I'm not sure if his head's screwed on right. I mean, this is really bizarre play from him. He needs to pull it down and take a shot. There you go, Luciano. He does. He pulls it down, takes a shot, and scores the goal. That's what you have to do. I don't know why he keeps trying to head it over. He doesn't have the heading ability. So, whatever. I mean, I say he doesn't have the heading ability. I don't know what his header's rating is, but we've watched him in multiple matches here this season, and I've never seen him score goals from that kind of range heading it forward. Pull it down, take a shot with the foot. That's what does it, and he scored, and now it's 4-1 Yanbian FC. And that's a little bit more like it. If we're trying to get that 200 goal differential, we have to win more matches by 4 or 5 goals. After this one, we only have 4 matches left for the remainder of the season, and everybody's feeling complacent. Yan Quan fouls his man in the penalty area again. Still no penalty call. And boy, I think Zibo will have a reason to feel a little hard done by at the end of this. Here's Jubin now. And looking for a way to push it forward. Unable to find it. Jonovic winds up with it over to Wade. Wade now moves back to Lee Jin-young, and he moves forward to Parra over to Ravaglia. That's always going to be a goal. Clearly a goal. They're going to call it offside. Yes, they do call it offside. Ravaglia was offside. I think he was offside by about a yard here. We'll take a quick look and see. So here he is. Yeah, I mean, he's clearly offside. Yeah, we're not even going to get a tight offsides replay on that one because of how obvious that was. Yan Quan wins the header again over to Jonovic. Jonovic thinks about it, meditates a little bit. Over to Yanquin now, over to Wade, over to Jubin. Jubin tries to push it past his man, a little bit ill-advised there by him. He's young. It's a sort of mistake you make, I think, when you're young. Paulson able to get past his man, trying to kick that one out for a throw, is not able to do so, and the Zibo attacker knocks that one over the top of everybody's head. And there was something in there down here about whistles of derision or something like that. I don't know. Sun Shipeng has been okay. He's had the ball in a number of good areas for Zibo. He just hasn't been able to score it all today because we have better defenders. Here's Yanquin over to Wade, over to Lee Jin-young now. Lee Jin-young over to Kulunzik. Kulunzik steps back, trying to find Ravaglia. Can't quite find him. And it's Lee Jin-young winning that back over to Wang Tong, over to Kulunzik again. And he gets a better cross in over to Ravaglia, and that's a header. And he just barely misses that. That was a much better header from Ravaglia, who needs to teach Luciano Parra a few things about how to actually head the ball effectively. Yanquin now back to Paulson. Paulson walks it forward a little bit over to Lee Jin-young. Lee Jin-young down to Kulunzik. Kulunzik penetrates. Looking forward, looking up for another cross. Over to Wang Tong, over to Lee Jin-young now. Lee Jin-young back to Wang Tong. Wang Tong over to Lee Jin-young again. And is back towards Jubin, who has his third goal of the season, second of the game. It was always going to score that one. And Jubin is going to be a star player. I tell you what, you watch this next season, you're going to see a lot of Jubin starting. This player is incredible and is the sort of player that we really need more of on this squad. What a goal. What vision, what a precise shot. 5-1 Yanbian FC, and hey, maybe 200 goal differential is a possibility. And he's clearly onside. There's not really much of a question here. And the beauty of that goal, of course, was the ability to move back to create that space for the shot. We only have 10 shots on goal in this game so far, and we have scored 5 of them, which is not bad if I say so myself. And the reality is we kind of created the goal that they scored too. Yanquin now. Over to Lee Jin-young. Lee Jin-young will take it forward himself as usual, looking for a man. Ends up passing it back to Kulunzik, who's in trouble, and has a really, really good penetrating pass forward. Ends up back with him, and he kind of pops that one over everybody's head. Jubin now with the free kick, looking over for Paulson, and the ref is given a penalty, which is absolutely ridiculous call. I will take it, right? But Sun Shipeng was fouled at least twice in their penalty area. Jubin takes the penalty, gets his hat trick. Sun Shisheng, who was given the yellow card for that one and charged with the penalty, was fouled himself multiple times in the other penalty area, and that was never called. And that one was a little bit, I think, of a nudge. That's a questionable call. That's a really, really questionable call. Again, we have 11,880 people here today. Not exactly the greatest crowd that we've seen this season, but I guess we'll stick with it. And it's kind of a shame because they're missing the Jubin show. They're missing seeing one of our great young players really put out a big effort. It's going to be one of those secrets that only the hardcore fans know about, that we have this guy who's just simply amazing, who's so young and who has so much promise ahead of him. Yanquin looking for this corner, can't quite get over to it. It's Kulunzik now trying to head it back in. Unfortunately, we're not able to win the header at all. You can see from the match momentum, we actually haven't controlled momentum in the entire match the way that we usually do. This has been, it's felt a little bit close, except, of course, for Jubin and his contributions. Here's Wade now, over to Jubin again, the man of the hour. Jubin knocks it forward to Ravaglia, who looks for a goal, just can't quite get around onto that, and that's got to help Jubin's rating, and it does. He's at a 9.9 right now. And let's see if we can get the ball back here. Wade is able to get it over to Jubin again. You can tell he's playing well when he's in every single one of these attacking movements. Over to Parra, back to Jubin, looking for goal number 4. Almost scores it. Ends up being forced back behind for a corner. That was a great shot from a really tricky angle. Lee Jin-young will take the corner now. Lee Jin-young steps back, knocks it forward over to Yanquin. Can't quite find it. It goes backwards to Lee Jin-young, who's unfortunately unable to get around onto it. And it is now a Zibo throw-in. And Lee Changyi has that one all the way, and it's not really even much of a shot on goal. And this is knocked forward, looking for Ravaglia, who unfortunately is not quite fast enough to get back onto it. It's Chen Zijie who takes it over to Tan Tiancheng, over to Sun Shipeng, who's feeling really hard done by. That was an awful shot by him. He should have scored. That was actually a pretty good move here by Zibo Qisheng, but if they're really interested in, trying to play better in the future, they need to get this solved. Where was that shot going? What was he aiming for? It was ridiculous. Awful, awful shot. And we're just about done with this. Ravaglia knocks it back to Wang Tong after the throw. Wang Tong penetrates slightly, looking for a cross, can't really find it, ends up kicking it back to Paulson. That's a horrible pass. Over to Yan Kun. Yan Kun looks over to the left side. He ends up passing it forward to Ravaglia, who has a shot that looks like it knocks over the top bar, off of the top bar. Yet another one that's hit the woodwork. We've had a lot of that recently. I don't know if others have noticed this, but in the latest update of Football Manager, it seems that everything's hitting the wood one way or another. Wang Tong able to sort of save that one, kicking it back to Paulson in a real dangerous area. This is the reason why I say we're not going to stick with Wang Tong for much longer. I mean, this guy just drives me nuts. He keeps kicking the ball in the wrong place, keeps getting into bad areas, and doesn't have that attacking penetration that we really need from these positions he's playing in. It's young Jiu Tian who has the ball, and he kind of knocks it forward, looking for Sun Shipeng, who doesn't even try for it. That's the final whistle. Anyway, Yanbian have won 6-1. Big day for Jubin, who winds up with a 9.9 rating. Should have had a 10, but whatever. I won't fight it too much. Very, very good match for most of our players. Wang Tong is probably the ugly duckling here, and I hope you enjoyed that. I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye.